Everyone, what's up? Big Jason. Today we're doing a special combo show for Active Campaign and Breakthrough Email Marketing. We're talking about how to find your prospects' hot buttons. And today my special guest is Kenrick Cleveland. What's up, Kenrick?
Hey, how are you, Jason?
Great. So guys, if you don't know Kenrick, he for over 30 years he's been one of the top guys in the unconscious mind, neuroscience, NLP, hypnosis, conversational persuasion, which I love. So, Kenrick, why don't you tell everyone a little bit more about how to find their prospects' hot buttons?
Sure. Uh, I think the importance of this is often overlooked. What we'll talk about and jump right straight into is the foundation for all communication when you get right down to it. And I think this is the part that most marketers and copywriters miss. Everyone talks so much about doing this as it relates to what do you call it? Surveys and things like
Right.
that. But there's just no shortcut to really understanding how this works and actually getting the information from your marketer or from your market. So I mean, if you don't do it, then you're just leaving tons and tons of money on the table. There's just no real other way to say it. Um, Here's the thing. The real decision maker is not the conscious mind, and it has nothing to do with logic. It is the unconscious mind. And neuroscience has proven that the unconscious is where we make our decisions. Then we back that up with logic. Now, everybody hears that. The problem is, how do you implement it? How do you appeal to the unconscious mind? How do you appeal to emotions? And I can tell you right now, I'll just in no uncertain terms, it is through their values. Our values trigger our emotions in ways that are almost completely uncontrollable. Wars are fought over people's values and emotions. They are the strongest, most powerful form of emotion that exists. Okay. And if we can learn how to talk and write to the real decision maker of the brain, then we get traction, we get headway.
We get yeses.
It's exactly right. And that's what we all live for, right?
Yep.
All right. Um, I can just mention there's people that have been studying my work for a very long time. Gary Bensavenga, he mentioned that anyone who's living depends in any way on persuading others, and that includes almost all of us, should learn and master what Kenrick has to teach about the art and science of persuasion. And I think as marketers go, they don't get much better.
That's right.
Doberman Dan says that what you teach is what I should have studied first and then learned copywriting. I would have gotten a lot further, a lot faster. And Rich Sheffrin, he says, Kenrick tops my short list of people I'll reach out to when I need advice on persuading others to take a desired action. His arsenal of skills and strategies has increased my bank account by millions of dollars. If you have the chance to work with Kenrick, jump on it. So I think with that basis of understanding that the real way to get yeses is to appeal to the values, let's do a demonstration of it. Now, just before I do, Jason, let me tell you something. Again, I can't make this point strongly enough. Marketers so often want to try to do this through surveys and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's not enough, Jason. It's just not. You're leaving the money on the table. You'll never get there. I've talked to so many, and so many have been in my programs, and they start off saying, I tried to short circuit this, Kenrick. I tried to do it through surveys. It just didn't work. It wasn't ever getting me what I can do now. I finally put this to use. I did one thing you said. I just picked up the phone and I called a few people. What I figured out changed my whole understanding of my market just with a few simple questions. Let me give you those questions right now. This is how to elicit values. In any context that you want to understand them in, all you have to do is ask, what's important about? That's it. Whatever the context is, you say, what's important about, name the context. That's it. Whatever they say, you're going to ask, first, make small talk. That sounds great.
Right.
That sounds good. So what's important about, and then name what they just said. And the third question is, whatever they just said for their second answer, you're going to say, so ultimately, what will having, name what they just said, do for you? That's it. 3 questions. One repeats itself. Really, 2 unique questions, and that's it. Well, let me show you, okay? It sounds simple. It is simple, especially if you really understand how to do it, okay? So let me just do it with you. Jason, we're having this interview today. You wanted to talk about all this. What's important to you about bringing this to your group?
Providing value.
Providing value. That makes a lot of sense. So I understand and we're on the same page. What's important about bringing value? Like, why now?
Because I want my list to know, like, and trust me.
Well, boy, isn't that pretty clear? You want your list to know, like, and trust you. And if your list did know, like, and trust you, ultimately, what would that do for you?
I would make more sales. I would get more yeses.
Well, nothing like a bottom line guy, huh, Jason? You'd make more sales. You would you do better. That makes all kinds of sense. In terms of making more sales, and getting people to like you and trust you and believe in you, there's no finer way of doing that, Jason, than bringing hardcore knowledge to the table. As you do that, your list will really find value in those things. And as they do, your fame will do nothing but grow. Your money will grow, your sales will grow. And I think that's what excites me about being here and doing this with you as well.
Nice.
Now, I did elicit your values, and then I turned right back around and used them on you, precisely like you'll do in marketing. So first of all, to get a gig, to get hired, you need to have somebody's values to do that with. Again, if you're not willing to do what I just did, you might as well just bail out, get out of this whole game. That was so simple, was it not?
Very simple.
Okay. And you know what? Not only are you going to do that for the person who hires you, but then you'll find 10, just 10 is all I say. Find 10 of the market that you want to get. Elicit the values just like I did with you. The minute you do that, aggregate them. You'll find they repeat over and over throughout those 10 people. Reduce them to the 10 that are talked about the most by those 10 people, and blam, you have the hot buttons to aim at in all of your marketing and all of your emails, everything you do, and you're going to be targeting your best clients. That's simple.
Now, what's the difference between a personal email with your customer versus talking to them on the phone, in your opinion?
Okay, the closer to live you can get, the more powerful becomes the persuasion. However, the power of marketing is it's a one-to-many approach. Sending out 10,000 or 1,000 or 100,000 emails, you have a chance to do a lot as compared to a one-person conversation. So
Right.
as the importance goes up, so too should your conversation become more personal. So if you have the ability, or when you have the ability to talk one-on-one with someone, it should be because you have the opportunity to close a deal.
Right.
Is that where you're going?
Definitely.
Yeah.
What do you think of Gary Halbert's idea? One of his proteges told me this. Every project online, you know how everyone's always trying to increase conversions, make all the checkout pages one page instead of multiple pages. Well, Gary Halbert, when he started out, and he's not technical, um, he would make them, every single project, ask for their name, email, and phone number before they got to the order page. And people would tell him, like, no, that's going to decrease conversions. Like, I don't care. I want the phone numbers of people that don't buy. They got to the sales letter, they went to this page, and they're not buying. I want to talk to them. And then he'd have his proteges call the first 100 people that entered their phone number and didn't buy. And that's how he'd get research on them.
I mean, again, being able to contact people directly is the answer. The minute that we say, oh, we're too good for that, excuse me, or, oh, we can just do this through surveys. No, you can't. And if you think you can, you're leaving tons of money on the table. I could talk to 10 people. If I were really going slow, it would take me a whole day. And that isn't because it takes me a day. It's because maybe I'm trying to get them scheduled and I can't. Maybe realistically, it's going to be stretched over 2 or 3 days, to get all 10 people fit in.
Right.
And that's it. I can put my assistant to doing that. If you don't have an assistant yet, get one. If you can't get one, then do it yourself. Doesn't matter. Then use a nice calendar app and send that to the people and say, hey, first 10 people to do this is it's all the time I've got. And then afterwards, you bet, if you can get the people on the phone, find out why they didn't buy. That's perfect. Again, using these questions, even on someone who didn't buy, you could do something like this. Jason, I noticed that you hit my site. This is Kenrick. I own the site that you went and checked out the other day on marketing. Remember you went and you read my sales letter?
Yeah.
Jason, you didn't buy.
Well,
it's okay. It's all right. I just want to ask you, what happened?
Well, I wasn't really sure. Got to talk to my wife.
Sure.
I've got a lot of different options.
Out of curiosity, Jason, what was the most important reason you came to look at it to begin with?
I want to be able to sell better.
You want to be able to sell better. Jason, that is really important. I understand that. That's what we think is key to this whole process. What's important to you, Jason, about being able to sell better?
Well, I know if I can make more money, that I'll be able to take care of my wife better and make her happy. It makes me happy.
So are you able to take care of her the way you want to now?
No.
How does that feel, Jason?
Feels terrible.
What happens to you when you get up in the morning and you realize today is another day you haven't done what you could for your wife?
I get depressed.
Is that a good way to live?
No.
Ultimately, if you could take care of your wife the way you want, what would that do for you?
Me and the world. That's what I live for.
Well, right now you're living to get by.
Yeah, you could say that.
If we want to change that, if we want to really make that happen, this is the way to do it, Jason. You want to talk to your wife about getting into a program that will change your ability to care for her?
Definitely.
By the same token, if she really understood that, do you think she would ever say, no, I don't want to be taken care of better?
No.
So let me ask you something. What was missing when you came to look at this? What was missing that didn't signal you like you're being signaled now that this could help you take better care of your wife? Do you remember?
Just the competing options. I wasn't sure if this was the right one.
Okay, bingo. First of all, I probably sold the guy. Second of all, I now have competitive information. I'm going to find out what competing options, and then I may even list those in my marketing if I hear that repeatedly. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? See how quick I could do that, though?
Definitely.
Would that be worth 5 minutes on the phone with a guy that could bring in how much money? How much money is that worth?
A ton. And so if you find someone that gives you that great values, that great copy that you can use, I out of 100 people, how many more people you think are thinking the exact same thing?
Well, that's the point. I wouldn't, you don't need 100, you just need
Right.
10. And those 10 will have values that everybody across that market will have. Well, everyone across the market that is, you know, that is like them, and you've picked 10 that you want to replicate.
Right.
So you should be nailing them. Now the ones that don't buy, that's where you're starting to get a little further outside the market. Then you want to look at numbers. So if you actually did talk to 100, and that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I would train my assistants on how to do that. I could train them quickly, and then they could plow through 110 each, for example, or 15 each. But then I would start counting them up. Out of 100, how many talked about the competition? If 20 or so did, I would say it's an across the board problem that you've got, and I would absolutely add it into the marketing.
Got it. And so the first example you gave, we finished on me wanting more sales and yeses, and then in the second demonstration, we went into got really deep. Like, how I want to take care of my wife. So, do you have any sort of way, like, okay, well, we need to list it a little bit more versus what we got, what we need?
Okay, that's why I said at the end what was missing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I asked that. What was so in fact, I even said, unlike now when you're starting to really get this, what was missing for you that would have shown you how to really take care of your wife when you went through the sales letter? So that's what I'm doing to ask you to give me more information. And your response was simple. I was, I wanted to look at competing offers. I feel like there's a lot of them, and I need to understand how they fit.
Got it.
So that's what I would have done. I don't need to go on and on and on. I mean,
Right.
if I have 100 people that I can choose, that I'm going to talk to, I just need to get the top reason and see how many of those repeat it.
Got it. So can you go ahead and recap the 3 questions?
Sure can. What's important about whatever you need to know about? What's important about bringing on an email marketer to handle your marketing? What's important about, getting somebody that's qualified to really do this and make you a lot of money? What's important about, what else do you need to understand in order to move forward? I mean, what's important about whatever you want to know about? That's the first question. They're going to give you an answer. What's important about, you put their answer in what they just said. Whatever they answer, you're going to say, so ultimately, what will that do for you? And that will give you the third answer. Those 3 things, focusing more on the last answer, are the things you'll need. Those are the values. That's what you're going to do this with 10 people. With 10 people, you're going to bring them all together, put them in a list so you know the top 10, right? And that's it. That's what you're going to use in your writing. That's what you're going to use in your emails. That's what you're going to use all over the place. That's it. That's simple. I mean, it's so simple. When I figured this out, I thought, man, I've been beating my head up against the wall for so long. And if somebody would have just said, this is how to do it, well, shoot, it would have changed my life.
Perfect. Awesome. So I promised everybody that's watching this that we were going to talk about a controversial method I've been using to increase my email marketing superpowers by modeling others. Let's go ahead and talk about that.
Well, there we go. So tell me what you're doing. Okay, I know, but
All right.
tell me what you're doing.
Yeah, so this all came about. I was talking with your partner, Jared, and I was doing a really big launch for the #1 golf instruction site on the web, and it was so funny. It was perfect timing. I worked with them 3 years ago for 6 months, did their 3 biggest launches in company history, and then they decided they wanted to do things themselves. So now 3 years later, they contacted me again for the next launch, and I agreed, and I looked at their last 2 launches, and they had been doing at least 200,000 or more less without me. And that's why they finally decided, well, okay, we still need Jason. And I looked at their launches, and they had been trying to model me, and it was basically just copying the landing pages, copying the call to action buttons, sending a certain set of emails, but they were failing. And then Jared came to me with one of your products called the Creativity Switch, and I started using that. But then he talked to me about unconscious neural modeling, and it's been amazing so far.
What happened when you did the Creativity Switch?
Oh, I usually don't have a problem with creativity, and like I said, I've worked with them before, but it was unbelievable. The first thing that happened was my wife has had a problem for over 2 years on how to incorporate online live dance classes without having to worry about the copyright issues. And within a day, I figured it out. And it's been a problem for over 2 years.
Wow. Fantastic. Yeah, and I know your results with it have just gone crazy. You're perfect example of what happens when someone just follows the plan. It's not difficult. You just follow the plan. Well, so let's talk about this modeling for a minute. First of all, what they did isn't modeling. What they tried to do is copy you. Okay,
Right.
and that was their problem. See, copycats don't get anywhere ever. So they tried to figure out who you were, and they couldn't. They failed. Of course, they failed. Surprised it wasn't more than $200,000 a month or a launch that they were
They have a
behind.
list of over 1 million, so they can pretty much do anything.
So, well, yeah, sure. Send one email to 1 million people, you're going to get a lot of money. I know, but still, you're also leaving a lot of money, and that's what that's the pain they were feeling. So, when we talk about real modeling, we have to get into a different way of thinking. What is real modeling? Well, let me tell you, from birth to about 5 years old, neuroscientists tell us that all of our values are set. They used to think it was until 10. Now they're saying 5, and they're thinking maybe even earlier. So how did that happen? For example, Jason, did anybody, your parents, or one day, like you're 2 or 3 years old, and one day they bring home a professor and they say, "Now, Jason, I want to sit down and have you speak with Professor Dickinson, and Professor Dickinson is going to explain to you why our family reaches higher than most as it comes to money, and how you're going to have that same mental attitude, but why we also have problems with marriage, and why you may find yourself divorced once or twice in your life, and how to overcome that." So we'd like to implant these values in you right now. You ready? That never happened, did it?
I don't recall that, no.
Of course not, because that isn't the way modeling works. Modeling works by being exposed to the model in a profound altered state. See, between 0 and birth and 5 years, we're primarily in the state called theta, and I consider that the imprinting state. In that state, you're imprinting everything about that model. Now, for those of us that are parents, it brings a whole new reality to raising children. Those kids are imprinting everything, your values, your beliefs. They're imprinting it, your religion. They're imprinting it like a robot, like a computer.
Like a sponge.
To say the very least. Now, what happens? So they imprint these, and then they grow up in life, and they think they're making decisions. They think they're doing things, but in reality, they're following a blueprint that had been modeled. Let me give you a quick story. When I was studying many years ago, I was studying with Richard Bandler. I was a protege of his. And I began modeling him directly. So I would study video, but I did it in a very specific way. And I went through a set of processes, and I successfully was able to model him. There was one small problem. He used drugs, and he used a lot of drugs. And I hadn't used drugs. However, I found myself, strangely, in the company of people that did drugs. And it didn't seem so bad. And I decided that I should try them too. And I did. Whew, what a waste of a number of years. Yes, I had tremendous skill. And I also had an addiction. And the addiction wasn't mine. I mean, it became mine, but it didn't start off as mine. It was his. I just modeled it. And he was also an ass. I became a world-class ass as well. Until one day I realized, you know what? That's not me, but it took years of trying to figure it out. I would try and figure out, why don't I quite feel like myself? Where have things gone wrong? In any event, I figured it out, and I was able to bring myself back under control, but not after being thrown out of a large training that I was brought in to do for the Alaska Psychological Association, because I was an ass, because I did things wrong. I should have known better. No really does mean no when a woman says it. I was playing with one of the therapists, and she said don't, and I did anyway. Well, they got so mad at me, they threw me out. And rightfully so. I was really young, and I just, I had modeled the skills and the behavior of somebody and the attitude, but I didn't have the wisdom to back it up. And even today, had I done it again today, it would have disrupted my life for years. So I never taught this. I never dealt with it. I never created programs with it. The key is that imprinting state that enables you to pick it up, whatever you want to pick up. However, you pick up everything, and that's the problem. And for the first time, I've systematized it. We're on the third time through right now, just started, and it's one of the main reasons that we have interest from a very high level government agency who wants to study what I've done. I'm not sure we're going to do it yet, but they've contacted us on a number of occasions, and they really want to study this. So here's the thing. Here's what it really does for you. It lays a track down. For example, if I could have the same basic beliefs about marketing, about copywriting, about email marketing as you, Jason, would I do better than what I could do without that?
Yep.
Okay, here's the problem with it. I'm not you, but I would have that track within me to run on. So if I studied a little bit with you and I figured out how you're doing this, I went through a program with you or what have you, now I would not only have you running in my mind, but I would have a track and the content that would enable me to move forward. Make sense?
Makes sense.
So in other words, doing real modeling is not a substitute for studying. However, it is a huge free way to wherever it is that you're wanting to go with the skills. So the unconscious neuromodeling Yes Strategist edition is about absorbing the skills and strategies to get a yes. There's three models. There's me, there's Milton Erickson, and by the way, Dr. Milton Erickson was the greatest living psychiatric hypnotist to have ever lived. He was amazing. Unfortunately, I missed studying with him by a year or two, but I was fortunately able to study with his daughter for a number of years. But
someone ran into problems modeling him, right?
One of the doctors that modeled him, Gilligan, he took on the polio and was wheelchair bound. Now he had no polio, none whatsoever. People would model him, and they would start speaking like him. And why? Well, there was a power to the way he used his words and used his voice. You don't have to use it like he did in order to have it. But see, since nothing was developed then and still now, unless you're studying with me, people could learn to model, but they couldn't get rid of the parts that they didn't want. That's the problem. When you model someone, you take on the bad with the good. That is the problem. So the third model is Jerry Spence, who's the winningest attorney who has ever lived. He's never lost a case. He's still alive, quite older. So these three models are who we are imprinting. So it's pretty amazing what this can actually do. There are some things that we now require, and I'll tell you why. First of all, let's talk about this state of mind called the imprinting state. One of the things that you need is called a casina. And if I can unravel mine here, this is the casina. And it comes with a pair of glasses. These glasses flash, and they're amazing. You have one, don't you?
Yeah, I'm putting up on the screen right now a picture of me using them.
Okay, so the casina is the first time we've been able to very strategically lock the brain into the imprinting state. The first part of this program deals then with teaching a person, it's real quick, it takes a couple of days, how to get there and stay there. The casino does the work, you don't have to do anything. Put on a pair of headphones, put on the glasses of the casino, put in the program, and done. It's that simple. So that's one of the first things. Now, the second thing is I created a program. Ended up being one of the best things I've ever done. It's called The Power of Being. And by the way, any of your group that wants to get involved with what we're talking about right here, we'll give them that along with if they get involved. It's so powerful, and here's why. This program is what enables you to not pick up the bad. So
it's going to protect us.
Yeah. So when you have a being statement designed correctly and imprinted, now everything that comes in is screened through that and you're protected. Listen, I'm not the greatest model in the world for living. I have a lot of faults. Here's the thing, everybody does. So you want to take the persuasion part and you want to leave the rest. With Milton Erickson, you want to take the language and strategy and the ability to reframe anything into anything else. And you definitely want to leave the polio and the problems with speaking behind. With Spence, you don't need to have multiple wives in order to live the life that you want as a great marketer and making boatloads of money. But boy, would you like his strategic ability to see a situation and see the truth in any situation you want from a winning vantage point and live that winning vantage point and that truth to its full extent. He's never lost, even winning with Imelda Marcos and her shoes, remember? So maybe some of those younger don't, but look it up. Imelda Marcos. So those are absolutely requirements to be in the program. And the program is broken down into three sections. Let me explain it to you. First is training to achieve that imprinting state reliably and consistently. It's as simple as about 4 days or so of using a session once a day. That's it. We've got it down to perfect. Once that happens, then we need to learn to hold that same state while watching video and while reading and listening to audio. So now we advance and we actually watch video and we read, believe it or not, and we listen to audio and we hold that state. Another few days, easy peasy. Already you're starting to experience the results though, because already you're beginning to imprint the different things that we're presenting to you, already you're starting to feel a positive difference, which is pretty slick. And that's just getting warmed up. Then we actually do the models. So after you understand how to get into that state, you're practiced and it's easy and it's comfortable. You practice holding that state while reading and watching videos, etc. And then we actually imprint the 3 models. So it's incredible. As we begin, the power of being is the first and most important step. Now, here's the nice thing about this program. This is not something where you're just thrown to the wolves. I interact personally a lot. And before you can even begin, you must have a being statement approved by me, and I'll help you do it. So you have to go through the program. You have to do it. But just like you and I did, Jason, you posted your being statement. Did I accept it?
Yep. No, not right away. You helped me.
Right.
Helped me craft it better, and
Right.
then you accepted it.
Yeah. Once it was done. And what was the difference between what you presented in the beginning and what we came up with in the end? How do you feel with that difference that I helped you create?
I had crafted it more in the frame of it was general, and you made it more specific to me personally.
Right. All right. In addition to this, as you're doing this, you're also going to want to get better at persuasion. So we put some really cool bonuses together, specifically aimed at those wanting to do marketing as well. I did a seminar with Jay Abraham, in which I was the guy that taught all of his proteges to persuade, to get yeses. And so we include that entire program that I did for him. So
You
you
were
can
top
actually,
rated, right?
yeah, I was the #1 trainer in all of his work, always, even
It was
above, even
20,000 to get there.
yeah, 20,000 ahead. And we put, what was it, 500 people through the program, something like that.
Wow.
They started, yeah, $20,000 ahead. And I was rated #1 above him. But you added them all together, including him, and I was rated above that, which didn't sit too well with him. Um, I think I should have used less skill. But anyway, so that, is pretty cool. So let me suggest a couple of things. You love that creativity switch, and I know as a marketer how important that is. Okay. So if anybody wants to get involved with us in this, I'd like to just gift that to them as well.
Wow.
And also the power of being. Power of being and the casino are required. We'll give you the power of being, just for getting involved with us on this. And
Normally you have to buy it, right?
yeah, normally you have to buy it. So we'll give that to you if you get involved with us in this, and also the creativity switch. Now, we just started the 3rd group through this program. Results have been literally off the charts. And the 3rd group has just begun. And we opening it for your people, Jason. If anybody'd like to get involved at your request, the
They have
casino.
till Thursday though.
Yeah,
They have till Thursday because it'll be too late for them to join after that.
right. Let me just say, I know you're going to give a way for them to go look at the video to learn more about it. That video will say that the program starts on August 15th. It actually started a little bit later than that. And that's why they only have till Thursday to get in, because I've got to help them with that being statement. And time we've got to move now to the very first step. So everybody needs to get their casino ordered, which, by the way, that's only $349, and they can get that right on our site with where you tell them. So, and that's something they can use with all of our programs, and the benefits to the casino go on and on and on and on and on. It is like being a master 20-year meditator in 10 minutes. It gives you all of the benefits of being a long-term meditator immediately. Not only does it reduce stress, it heightens creativity. The benefits just go on and on and on. Literally anything you can think of for why people might meditate, would be why they might want to use
Should,
a device like
should I
that.
tell them what happened when I started using it?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I came up with that creative solution to my wife's problem just by listening audibly. And then Jared told me about the casino. I said, heck yeah, let me get that. I got that. And instantaneously that day, I started coming up with more and more creative ideas for this huge golf launch. And what was cool is normally I come up with a couple ideas to increase revenue, and they either say no to both or maybe one. I was coming up daily with at least five. So they were saying no, 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 but I was getting at least one or two yeses every single day. And it helped them and it helped me.
Fantastic. It rocks, doesn't it?
Yep.
So, by the way, because there is a kind of this has already begun, although we haven't even done the first step yet. We're just at the being statement, so it's perfect time to get in. But because it's already begun, we'll give a special email that will describe exactly what they need to do and everything. So, I'll tell you something. If you took marketing and all it is, you'd give half of what it is to persuasion. It's persuasion in print. It's emails that persuade. It's strategies that persuade. It's the ability to get people to do what you want. If you're not studying persuasion, I have to ask yourself, why in the hell not? I mean, it is the thing that a marketer can do to jump to the top of their game as quick as is possible. Leave the silly tricks aside. Leave the next shiny object aside. The two things that a person wants to focus on are the foundational strategies and techniques of writing and marketing and your email the way you do it, Jason. You knock it out of the park, dude. Those strategies, those concepts, the strategies of copywriting, for example, that's a major place to focus attention. Then persuasion. Because without it, what are you going to get people to do? You're just spewing what everyone else would say. People say about, well, listen, you need to write what great writers write. Yes, you should, but it's not unconscious neuromodeling. It is never going to get that ingrained into you deeply enough. We've got to get into their head. That's the power of what we do. We give you the tracks to run on. It installs it in you. It's profound. And with that, now learn more about it. Use the programs that come with this program. Use them. Use what I taught Jay's people. Become a great marketing strategist. Become a great persuader. And with that, apply all of your strategies, Jason. Imagine. It always shocks me when I hear from marketers that aren't studying with us. It really surprises me. The big ones do.
Right. I just hope everyone takes you up on this offer, except my golf client.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're going to give them something else. What about your Max Persuasion Seminar?
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. So the Max Persuasion Seminar we'll give them is just additional material that will allow you to study persuasive skills. How do you talk? How do you think? How do you write? What do you do to really bring all of this together? You'll have it. So not only are you getting the neuromodeling done at the unconscious level, the imprinting, but now you can actually study the skills that go hand in hand with it. Like I said, there's no excuse for the doing the work and understanding how this is all fit together. But you'll have the tracks to run on with the unconscious neuromodeling. It literally will change your life.
Nice. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you have plans to do additional models other than the three you mentioned that are specific to certain skills?
Yes, I certainly do. We'll be doing skill sets in models in copywriting and in a number of things as time goes. I highly recommend starting with Yes Strategies, this one. because that's foundational for marketing. It's foundational for selling. Selling and marketing literally go hand in hand. It's the foundational piece. And once you've got that, you can add the other models as we bring them out. And absolutely, we'll be doing models of great marketers.
Nice. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in modeling Gary Halbert.
Oh, I think so too. Great guy. I met him
Awesome.
at Abraham's events. That was
Oh, really?
a lot of, yeah,
Nice.
very really nice guy. Wish he was still here.
For sure. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things. His son Bon introduced me to a lot of his proteges, and I've worked with them in their companies, which is interesting because he was known as to be able to sell anything, but then he'd lose it all. Then he'd start back up again. But a lot of his proteges have actually taken all his, marketing superpowers and none of his weaknesses. They're all building businesses now, and they've fired all their clients.
So I can tell you that this would be a danger if it weren't for what I've created in modeling him. He was known for being able to create money out of thin air. Anytime he really needed money, he'd go and create it again and turn right around and spend it all. Yep. Money management was not his strong suit. Creating it was. So imagine if you actually modeled him and you didn't have this kind of protection. This is the problem. I know some of his proteges personally, and they work with me. And I can tell you right now, their lives have too been really turned upside down by modeling some of those areas that they wish they hadn't.
Right.
So that's part of the whole issue, and it's part of what needs to be kept under check. And that's again, I think one of the main reasons why the covert government agency wants to study this. Well, that's what they've said.
Right. Lastly, the power of being, we talked about how it's going to protect from modeling the bad behaviors. But one of the things that sticks out to me, and I like it, is instead of having the mindset of do, have, be, you focus on be, do, have.
Of course. It's an absolute error to think you're going to do what it takes in life, get ahead, and then finally, you're going to be somebody and have what they have. Wrong. That I still don't understand how people think that, because you can't do something that you're not. You're living a lie. You're living a false life. You have to first be the person who does what it takes so that you can then have what that is. That's the correct order. It's, by the way, one of the main errors in the law of attraction. Of course, the biggest error in the law of attraction, by the way, is the missing action step. That and the blaming people step, where they say, well, if you were born in Ethiopia, a starving child, well, yeah, you clearly attracted that to yourself. And then, they have no way to prove this, but they'll say, before you entered that body, you chose a life of difficulty and starvation. Well, that's just bullshit of the highest order. I don't buy that even a little bit. But what I do buy is the moment we become of age, the moment we can choose our life, now choose it. And that takes action. So yes, a lot of the strategies are right, and we have to act. And if we can add that correct sequence of be, do, have, there we go. So the being statement from the power of being does exactly that. It creates who you are. And as you take that on, your action, your doing reflects that. And that's what makes this so powerful. If I wanted to be a great email marketer, I would model you and take that on. I would literally do what Jason does because I'd be Jason in my head. That's the whole point. So as you become these three models to get great at getting yeses from the people you're email marketing to, from the people you're talking to hire you, from your husband or wife or your girlfriend or boyfriend, right? Then you're absolutely applying everything in a way that's congruent. You are the person who gets the yeses from the people you are working with, and your bank account rises as a result.
Exactly. And I told people in the email about this is that people don't realize that when you write an email, it's not just one yes. It's not the final sale. You have about, depending on the length of your email, you've got up to 5 or more micro yeses that you have to get. You got to get them to open. You got to get them to read. You got to get them to continue to read, not get bored and leave. And you got to get them to click. All before you get the final yes. So,
Absolutely
the more yeses,
correct.
the better.
Absolutely correct. And there's a structure to that and a way of doing it that makes it even easier. And that's exactly what this is about.
Awesome. So let's recap. They're going to get the unconscious neuromodeling program that I'm in right now.
Yep.
They have till Thursday. And they're also going to get the power of being, which is going to protect them from modeling bad behaviors.
Right.
And they're going to get the creativity switch as a bonus.
Yeah.
And they'll also get the J. Abraham recordings that people paid $20,000 to attend, and you were top rated. And they'll also
let me make sure we're clear there. You get my part of that, right?
Right.
So yeah, I don't have any right to Jay's part, but I have a right to my part. So you get that. Yep, and you get all of that. That's absolutely correct. And the creativity switch that enabled you to blow through those problems so fast. So, yep, all of that.
Awesome. So, guys, go to maxpersuasion.com/Jason. maxpersuasion.com/Jason. You have till Thursday night. And if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them below. And
watch the video. The videos show up when you go there, and it's I think you'll get a lot of good information from it.
Definitely. All right, Kenrick, I appreciate this. I've been a big fan for a long time.
Well, thanks. And I enjoy having you in the program, and it's really going to be a lot of fun. Anybody that joins us, you'll get to be working right along with all of us, including Jason, right at the same time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Kenrick, we will talk to you soon. I'll see you in the forum.
I'll see you there. Take care.
Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Would you mind answering one more question? I think it would help a lot of people if we cover what exactly is modeling.
Sure, you bet. Well, I think the best way to talk about that is by referencing method actors. This is what they do. They will find somebody that represents what they're trying to be like, and they will study that person and study them, and then do their level best to put that person on and be that person. Boy, oh boy, I'm gonna not remember the name now, but there's that guy that modeled the special person. He's an older actor, and he anyway, I can't remember his name. That was a real powerful thing that he did. He actually was able to act like a kind of a high functioning special person. He could, they drop, for example, the toothpicks. Dustin Hoffman. Yeah, Dustin Hoffman. And he goes 236, or whatever it was. He had, he was special, but and he was able to model that and actually put that on and be that. One of the most incredible examples of this was an actor by the name of Joaquin Phoenix, who did this modeling Johnny Cash. Now, you remember Johnny Cash is the old country singer who, was a alcoholic and everything else. Well, Joaquin modeled him so completely that he turned into a drug addict, an alcoholic. He completely destroyed his career, and that was just by playing Johnny Cash and jumping into that. Wow. Now you understand why I didn't do anything along these lines until I could 100% use a protection mechanism, and I had never developed that, and I developed it out of my own pain of doing the same thing. So not only is this way more powerful than what method actors can do, because we're actually going right into the imprinting state where it's directly imprinted, but it's imprinted through a filter that gets rid of anything that's not appropriate. And that's why that is such a powerful part of it. But I hope that maybe explains a little bit more about what this kind of modeling is.
Definitely makes a lot of sense. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Talk to you soon.